What is up, everybody? This is Rebecca Johnson of Supergirl Radio, and I believe, Morgan, we have you. Are you ready? Okay. We're going to bring Morgan in, and I apologize to everybody for the delay in Supergirl Radio live streams and episodes. That is entirely on me. October is the worst month of the year for me at work, so I needed a little bit more time. So thank you for your patience with Supergirl Radio episodes.
You don't have to take the complete bullet for that one. I was also like, I have to watch the Mets like last week.
That's also very, very important. So, did they win? I don't keep up with it.
Yes.
Oh, good. Is it
Postseason, baby?
Okay, good. All right.
We're still in this.
So everybody pull for the Mets so that Morgan can have a happy end to the baseball season. All right, well, good. Well, then it was worth it because you went to the game, right?
I think it's because we took off last week.
That's what it was.
The Mets knew it was serious then, you know? They were like,
you really committed to it.
If Morgan's taking off for this, we gotta pull it out, you know, we gotta do this.
Well, let me know when the next game is, and we'll try to schedule around.
We just keep taking off all the games. We're doing it for the
team. If that's what it takes.
Listen.
Can we do that for Alabama football games? They're having a real rough go of it.
Suddenly we're just never podcasting.
We're just taking off to support the teams. Okay, well, seriously though, we're gonna get back to talking about Supergirl and a lot of things. Superman, Supergirl, the Batman who laughs. We'll talk about him. Well, I'm sure we have lots of thoughts
He
about
popped
him.
up in this one.
He definitely did. He introduced himself in a big way.
Weird looking guy.
He's a little weird looking. We'll have to dissect his look here in this episode. So I guess let's officially get started, and we'll get to it.
McGurk! I love
Not
typing.
mess with my Google Docs, Meeksy.
Supergirl Radio is going live every night of the week. How do you like it? Is becoming a human burrito a plus or a minus? I don't know. It does seem snug.
I mean, they say you are what you eat.
Kira. I love that.
So I do a podcast called Supergirl Radio, and one of our segments is Lena Luthor, Boardroom or Ballroom, because
She looks like a boss in this coat.
Nasty Luthor like a different Luthor? It's not just Lena being mean?
No.
Helen Slater here. So fun to know that you're hosting a podcast called Supergirl Radio.
Welcome to Supergirl Radio Rebirth, your source for Supergirl comics that started with DC Rebirth. My name is Rebecca Johnson.
I'm Morgan Glennon.
And for this episode of the podcast, we are live and wired, and we're going to discuss and review Supergirl 2016 dash. I guess they thought they would come back to it, but Supergirl Annual number 2. So we're going to be talking about this issue and catching up on all things Supergirl comics. But before we get into some of the news that we have, so we'll talk about something that we got from a listener. Then we'll talk about the news, and then we'll get into Supergirl Annual number 2 because we have a lot of ground to cover. But I wanted to share something that I got in the mail from one of our longtime Supergirl listeners named Paula recently. She sent something that I will share with everybody, but I wanted to read her note because I thought it was very nice. Paula writes, quote, "Dear Rebecca and Morgan, I'm sending this poster of Supergirls with Nicola Scott's autograph as a thank you for all these years being the absolute champions of our Girl of Steel. For the laughs, the company, and all of your hard work to produce every episode of Supergirl Radio with such care and passion. May this poster always be a reminder to live life with hope, help, and compassion for all," which Supergirl fans will recognize as Supergirl's motto. So this is the poster. So Morgan, we can share this if you would like to. I can send this to you.
We could like Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
Yeah. So I think that is the autograph. Ooh, where is here? I think is the autograph.
Cool.
And so this was posted to social media with these different Supergirls.
Oh, that's a cool poster.
Over her time. Sorry, I can't really get it in.
It's got all her looks, her headband era, her tiny hot pants era, apparently that I mostly missed.
Okay, so that is the 80s. So we need to cover the daring new adventures of Supergirl. That's around that time. Yeah, so headband, Linda Danvers, Sterling Gates, Ron, all of that stuff is in there.
That's so cool.
So yeah, even on the bottom it says signed by Nicola Scott and came all the way from Australia.
Whoa!
So that's big stuff.
That's
so thank you, Paula, for the poster, not only the autograph poster, but the very nice, encouraging message for us. Because sometimes we just do this week in and week out. And we just kind of hang out, and I sometimes forget like people are consuming this. Me too.
I think you can tell that in the end product on my end that I forget people are listening.
So I'm glad that people get something out of it and find us enjoyable to listen to. We have a good time here.
We do.
But I'm always kind of curious, how do other people perceive what we do here? But I'm so glad that you get something out of it, Paula, and thank you for listening and watching over the years, as long as you have.
And thank you for the poster. That's so nice. Like that people would just send us little gifts.
It's pretty cool. So we will continue to be podcasting and live streaming as long as the internet will allow us to. We will be doing it, or unless we just get really tired. That could happen
at some point when we go through all of the Supergirl stories ever told. We'll be like, well, I guess that's it.
We've at the end of the line.
But you know what? I feel like there'll always be more Supergirl stories.
Yes.
That's what I'm putting out into the environment. There's gonna be a movie. Almost definitely.
Well, we will talk about that, and let's not even put it out there that like there's a maybe.
Definitely.
There's definitely 100% confirmed going to be a movie.
Warner Brothers is doing great.
They are not having movies tank at the box office at all. It is totally fine. Everything is very successful, and we want at least continue to be successful through June 2026.
Then after that, whatever happens, baby. We got what we want.
So that's the way that goes. So we're pulling for Warner Brothers at this point.
We are.
Yeah, we really want successes so that we can see the thing that we want to see selfishly, of course. But before we get, now that we've covered Paula's very nice gift and note, let's get into talking about some things related to Warner Brothers' upcoming movies. And so we'll get to
the news.
James Gunn shared a new look at David Cornsweet and the first look at a very important character, Crypto, from his upcoming Superman movie. So Gunn wrote, Crypto arrives on screens in Superman this summer. Crypto was inspired by our dog, Ozu, who we adopted shortly after I started writing Superman. Ozu, who came from a hoarding situation in a backyard with 60 other dogs and never knew human beings, was problematic, to say the least. He immediately came in and destroyed our home, our shoes, our furniture. He even ate my laptop. It took a long time before he would even let us touch him. I remember thinking, gosh, how difficult would life be if Ozu had superpowers? And thus Crypto came into the script and changed the shape of the story as Ozu was changing my life. What better time to debut the not so good boy Crypto than hashtag Adopt a Shelter Dog Month? By the way, Ozu today is fairly often a very good boy.
Okay, I have a question. He says the not so good boy. Crypto is always a good boy.
Crypto is always a good boy.
What is he talking about?
I'm wondering, listen, are we about to see a different take on Crypto? Are we going to see the bad boy Crypto? Because this could be a daring departure from the Crypto we've always seen.
Comics fans are not good. Superman fans are
people are going to riot in the streets when the first time Crypto growls at somebody for no reason.
Do you think Crypto is gonna like tug on his cape, or
I feel like there's
he'll chew up the boots? I have a feeling.
I think he's gonna chew some stuff up. I think there's gonna be a lot more barking. A squirrel's gonna go by and we're gonna lose Crypto for a while. He's basically gonna become my mom's dog, just constantly barking at everything.
So so in the chat, Mind the Gap says that image is almost right out of All-Star Superman. And I think the image that James Gunn, for audio listeners, if you haven't seen it, James Gunn posted a very nice animated video of David Cornsweet's Superman sitting on what looks like maybe a meteor of some kind, some sort of asteroid rock of some kind, with Crypto looking at planet Earth. So it's a very nice image there. And he also included an image that I think is actually from All-Star Superman. I'd have to go back and check, but that's what I was assuming this was from. So a good nod to the comics. And honestly, I think this Crypto Superman image is what they should have started with, instead of Superman putting on his boot, looking all sad while something was crazy was happening in the back. This should have been the first image.
Something's going on back there, but like Superman's like, hold on, I'm just gonna like tie it like one tie at a time.
Just really slowly put my shoe.
It's been a long day. Listen, I shouldn't be able to like relate to Superman on like such a visceral level. God, fine, what? Me answering every email. Oh, fine.
That was the vibe I got from that picture.
But yeah, this is a little bit more heroic and hopeful. Him and his very good boy Crypto.
Okay, so one of the things that I also enjoyed about the reveal of Crypto here, well, two things. Crypto is a little bit different in terms of dog breed, which I think is a really cool way to do it. I think he's usually like a it's not a golden retriever, but what's the other retriever? What's the other kind of
Oh,
what am I thinking of? But
I
Crypto
don't
is
know.
usually depicted in
Oh yeah, like some sort of like not quite sort of golden adjacent. I think like he's usually like a kind of a yellowy lab type of
I can't
dog.
I can't remember what kind of dog that Crypto is usually depicted as, but I like that there's a little bit different take in terms of dog breed for Crypto
Labrador
here.
Retriever.
Labrador Retriever.
I googled
Yes.
crypto dog type, which isn't even how you usually say it. The word is breed, the word I was looking for. But I looked up dog type, but still Google understood what I was trying to get to.
Yeah, no, that
It
makes
said
sense.
a white dog of a generic pedigree, often resembling a Labrador Retriever, a plain white Dalmatian, or a white Shepherd.
Yeah. So I like that there's a different take on the dog breed. And also, if people have read Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, and if you haven't, you should you should read it first and then listen to our episodes on it. But Crypto plays a pretty big part in Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. So I think we'll get to see Crypto hanging out with Supergirl, I would think, if they were going by,
Yeah.
by the actual comic. So I think this version of Crypto is going to end up being Supergirl's dog, essentially.
I think this version of Crypto is going to like kind of get around would be my guess. Like if it was me, I'd just end up like having him be in every movie. Like he's like what ties the universe together.
You're gonna be like the Tony Stark of the DCU.
Exactly. He like just to bring it to a more recognizable, understandable context. I think he's like the constant of this universe.
Oh yes. I
Lost
assume that was
reference.
a Lost reference. Yes.
Of
Okay. I'm following you. I'm following you.
It's like I don't want to reference the comic book movies or the comic book universes. I want to reference Lost, a TV show that aired about 2004. We all get that reference though, right?
If you don't get that reference, you should watch Lost.
It's on Netflix now.
There's no excuse anymore.
There's no excuses.
It's only 6 seasons, and 4 through 6 are very short seasons.
You need to be able to understand this podcast about Supergirl, and so you need Lost.
Oh, Lost is such a good show. I just love it so much. But yeah, so I think it's gonna be pretty cool to see Crypto. I guess maybe he'll be around a lot in the Superman movie, but I feel like he should make an appearance in Woman of Tomorrow or Supergirl. I don't know if they're gonna change the title to just Supergirl instead of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, but he and Supergirl are kind of buddy in that like it drives the motivation for her to help Ruthie. Crypto does. So exciting to see how he's going to be in each of those movies, and it looks pretty good so far. I mean, that movie is supposed to be coming out in what, June 2025? I mean, that's
like honestly,
6-7 months from now.
Like 7-8 months from now. So I mean, we're circling.
Where's the trailer? Where's the trailer?
Yeah, drop some deets. Get a picture of Crypto from the back. I didn't even get to see his little face.
I was surprised. This is like a whole total derailment here. But I was surprised they didn't drop a Superman trailer when Joker 2 was released.
Yeah, maybe they didn't want it associated.
I just feel like that would have been the appropriate time.
It feels like that would have been a great way to try to get some hype for the new Joker movie. Maybe at this point they could just throw one in. Just try to help it out.
I think you should.
Hold on, cut together whatever you've got.
Now, to be fair, I have not seen Folie à Deux. I have not seen it yet, and I'm skeptical. I keep hearing bad things about it, and I'm like, it can't be that bad. So I'm gonna give it a chance and see how it goes.
I want you to report. So I haven't seen the original Joker, so I'd have to then watch the original Joker.
The first one
Folie à Deux.
The first one is very good.
I hear the first one is very good. So I feel like I want to watch the first one. I probably want to watch Folie à Deux when it is free on these streaming services. So if you go see it, you need to report back and let me know where on the scale.
So maybe for Patreon we'll do a Joker review and then a Folie à Deux review.
A Folie à Deux. We will.
we just really want to say.
I just like saying it.
So I cannot remember what we were. Oh, yes, the trailer. That's where we came from that. So I thought that they would release a Superman trailer or a Superman trailer during the last final season of Superman and Lois.
That seems very like a very organic tie-in.
Synergy. How is this not a thing that they are doing?
I'm disappointed in them, honestly.
is-
Like, what's going on here? Why? Just give us a teaser, like a quick little tease. You don't even. It doesn't even have to be a full trailer. I'll just take anything, sir.
like a 15, 20-second like reel or something. If you can't do a full trailer, just a teaser is fine. A 30-second teaser. That's all.
Yeah. Like, what's the dog up to?
Yeah, 30 seconds of crypto.
Just of
chewing
crypto.
on Superman's boot. I think that would be perfectly fine.
The most movement we got was the Earth in that GIF. Like, give us something, please. What if they were like, that's the trailer?
Nothing else comes out before the movie.
They just put some music behind it. And
the John Williams Superman theme.
It fades in, then it fades out, and you're like, is that it?
Honestly, that would sell me on it.
I mean, I would be there. I'm like, oh, okay.
It's not really showcasing all of your best, but I feel like so to be corrected, New Rachel says in the chat, July 11th, 2025 is the release date. So they've got a little bit more time.
All right.
But I feel like they should have still maybe. I mean, this feels like the time.
Are there any other big like tentpole movies that they're releasing before the end of the year? Maybe they're waiting for like their like, you know how they always release something really big in like December or something. Maybe they're waiting for that one.
I'm surprised
they're not the Wicked studio, are they? Maybe they're waiting for
Wicked. Maybe
they're waiting to defy some gravity. I actually don't know, and I might be completely
I actually don't know either. Too bad we don't have a Tom Cruise movie with Warner Brothers coming up. That would really,
I mean, right?
No, the last, well, let's see, hang on. All right, let me stand corrected. There's a Lord of the Rings something or other. Oh, it's Warner Brothers Animation, so that's probably not it. No, I think that's the biggest. Folie à Deux was the last big thing. They have something called Caddo Lake. I don't know.
Oh, I think
that's
that
just original. Oh, it's Shyamalan.
That just came out. I was on Max, as I often am. Max, if you would like to sponsor us, we were open. And I was just like clicking around, and it was like, ooh, new kind of like spooky like thriller movie, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll watch that. So I did see that come out, but I think that's just like a Max original. Could you imagine if it was like the trailer is dropping in front of Caddo Lake, and you're like, is that a big movie that's being released? No, it's a Max original. And you're like, what?
That would actually make
that
sense.
would kind of track though.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people aren't even going to know about that. But why would you do it that way?
Yeah, New Rachel says that Wicked is out in November, but I don't think it's a Warner Brothers movie.
Yeah,
though.
So I looked it up. It looks like it's Universal Pictures. Is Wicked. So my great idea, which was to drop it in front of Wicked, doesn't work in that scenario.
Well, I guess it could still be associated with that. You know, there could be other trailers, but it just makes sense to throw your Warner Brothers trailer in front of like your Warner Brothers audience.
Warner Brothers, yeah, the big Warner Brothers movie. I don't know if there are any for the rest of the year though.
There aren't. Caddo Lake was it.
No. Oh, okay. No, they're doing great. We think they're doing so good.
Yeah. So who knows when the Superman teaser trailer will come out, or when we'll get anything new other than a spinning Earth. But we will keep our eyes on it for when that happens. Okay, well, I guess we've talked about movie news long enough, so let's get into talking about the Supergirl issue that we are going to talk about for this episode of Supergirl Radio, which is Supergirl Annual number 2. And this is a story titled The Best Day of Her Life, and it was written by Robert Venditti, art by Laura Braga, colors by Chris Sotomayor, Letters by Tom Napolitano, cover by Victor Bogdanovich, Jonathan Glapion, and FCO Placencia. Jessica Chen was the editor. Jessica Burby was the assistant editor, and Brian Cunningham was the group editor. The description for Supergirl Annual Number 2 reads, quote, "What was Supergirl's last day on Krypton like? Before her entire world came crumbling down, did she get to say goodbye to her loved ones? Tell the boy who sat next to her in science class her true feelings for him. Take a deep dive into Supergirl's darkest regrets and desires as the Batman Who Laughs infection takes over her core memories and twists them to his bidding," unquote. So, Morgan.
Yes.
Did you need to know that Supergirl's last day on Krypton would be hanging out with this boy while she babysits baby cow?
I mean, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Psyched for her that they won the championship on that last day.
I mean, they were startups. I mean, they beat the 5-time champions.
5-time champions. But you know what? The fight in Argonauts. They're gonna pull through every time. That's the thing. You know, you just when you think, okay, they can't make it, that's when they do. That's when they do.
That's the most exciting kind of game.
Exactly. It's like a close game.
It's a comeback.
Where Car gets the winning score. I mean, that's exciting.
It's pretty good. So
and she's going against her crush. That was what a surprise!
Oh, yes, a surprise. Romeo and Juliet,
Juliet-esque, right, Bunsen? Bunsen, would you like to? No, you would not like to look at the camera. No, he's not interested in looking at the camera. He is interested in being here, destroying things, but not at looking at the camera.
He wants to be present.
He just wants to be involved, you know. He hasn't been up here for a while.
It's been a while. Yeah.
It's been a while since a Bunsen visit. So, you know, I'm just feeling blessed that he's around.
Yeah. Kara plays for the Argo City team, the Argonauts, and Rix, this her first crush on Krypton, plays for Kryptonopolis, the 5-time champions. And Argo City wins 4-3. So it was a big game. People would not have expected the guy she went up against in the big play of the last game to be the guy she shares her first kiss with.
Shocking.
It's shocking. Twist.
My God. I also like that their name is, what was it? The Kryptonopolis or something?
Kryptonopolis is a city. I think sometimes the capital city of Krypton.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Because I was like, I feel like I haven't heard that before, but the way that they're casually mentioning it makes it feel like it's probably just a me not knowing thing.
Yeah. So if you do look at comic book depictions of like a map of Krypton, like the world of Krypton, Kryptonopolis is mentioned. And also on Sci-Fi's Krypton TV show, Kryptonopolis is also mentioned on there. So yes, Kryptonopolis is within the Superman, Supergirl mythology. Just has a crazy name. Sometimes we're only really talking about Argo City when we talk about Supergirl, but Kryptonopolis is definitely one of them in there. So Supergirl, speaking of her, she's an athlete. She's playing sports, but she also loves history. Now, I found this kind of interesting because in the Sterling Gates run, Supergirl Sterling puts her squarely in the Science Guild. She is a science person. She is someone who loves science, excels at science. But here in the story, she seems to prefer history. So, Morgan, what do you make of this?
I was shocked by this turn of events. Yeah, because I feel like we always sort of see Kara kind of getting to Earth and being like, you're all a little stupid. Like kind of more of a science gal. So seeing her be like, but Dad, I love history, and him being like, history's for losers, was very funny actually. Where they're telling her teacher is telling her that he got her into this like very prestigious
the Society of Historical Science.
Yes, the Society of Historical Science, which sounds very fancy and very like exclusive. He got her in like a year before she like would have been able to apply.
They were very impressed. with
super
her.
impressed. She's like, I know all of the history names and places, the dates even.
Those are the important ones.
So many important things to know history wise. And her dad was just like, history. What are you gonna do with that? What are you gonna do with that? And I was like, I mean, she's not trying to become like a, I don't know, like a theater major, dude. Like I feel like she could do something with it. He was like, oh, interesting philosophy or something. I was like, step off of her, okay?
Yeah, Zor-El says that the House of El has always been about applied science, not historical science. So he's very uppity about that.
He goes, we're looking to the future and not the past. And I was like, oh, that is such a solid burn, sir. I was Kara. I'd be like, ow. But you kind of see Zor-El's personality in this, and I gotta say, it's not super fun. Zor-El's not giving me like a dad that you'd be like, hey dad, like you wanna like go out and like go somewhere and have fun. It's more like, hey dad, I like history. Please don't hate that. Like when she wins the big game, he's like got a little sloppy there at the end. It's like she won, didn't she?
She like played a big important part at the end. What I thought was interesting of this, and this is how I was sort of reading this historical aspect of it, because it is something that is a fairly, I would say, a fairly notable change, at least to me anyway, of Kara going from science to being history related. And I think that the reason that they chose to do this is because the issue plays up the fact that Kara, as the only one, so baby Cal survives Krypton's explosion, but Kara is much older than him, and so she is the only one who actually remembers Krypton, experienced Krypton, and has memories of the people there and the culture there. So she actually, once they leave Krypton, she is Krypton's history. Essentially, she is the way that people learn about Krypton's histories through her. And so I actually thought that was kind of an interesting way to handle her character and thread this storyline throughout these essentially 2 issues, but it's an annual. But I liked the idea that if they were going to change her from being science focused to being history focused, it was actually based in character. And I think and maybe I'm reading too much into this, but at the beginning, when they're talking about the game, there's a quote that says, "Can the Argonauts complete their historic campaign for the title?" And then the Man Who Laughs version of Zor-El says, "History is meaningless. No one will remember." And I thought that was really interesting in terms of Supergirl, because she does remember. She will remember. And I think for me, when I was reading this, that was kind of what I got away from. What I took away from this story is that it was really focusing on how Kara was replaying some of these things through her infection. All of this is kind of happening while she's infected by the stuff that the Batman Who Laughs injected in her. And so she's reliving some of these things, recounting some of these people and these things that happened to her. And so I thought that on a character level, I thought that was nice that she is the one who remembers their history.
Yeah, I really like that aspect of it. The way that they sort of talk about the history and having her be more interested in the science history versus the like applied sciences is the idea of like kind of the idea of how it's not just like he said, it's not something that ends up applying to her life, because now she has all of this knowledge of this history of this planet that doesn't exist. And I thought that was also really sad to think about, is, you know, something that she was really interested in was Kryptonian history, but it doesn't really apply now. But in some ways, she's also now the only person who knows all of these things about the history. So in like on the flip side of it, it's probably great that she was interested in history, because now she's the only one that can kind of keep that tradition alive and, you know, tell anybody else about Kryptonian history, because everybody else in Krypton besides her and Clark, who was a baby, are gone.
I actually really like that. I think that's a cool way to look at Supergirl, that she is like in the museum world, we have a thing called living history, which is essentially if you go to a museum or some sort of park or something where people dress in period clothing and they talk to you as if they are the person from a time in the past. That's called living history. That's a living history interpreter. And so I like the idea that Kara is metaphorically living history. She is someone who can tell you about the past based on her experiences and share that with people. And so I like it. I was sort of, at first, I wasn't sure if I liked the change from like the Science Guild to like being interested in history, but it makes a lot of sense for Supergirl. So I really like that a lot. Okay, so can we talk about this Rick's character, this boy who is her first crush? What are your thoughts on this character?
I just didn't. I was like, oh, okay. I think it's interesting that he's a Zod. I guess I never thought of General Zod being like. I mean, it makes sense that Zod would be his last name, but I guess I just never ever thought about the fact that General Zod has a first name. Like, what is General? Do we know what General Zod's first name is?
So is it Drew Zod? I feel like Drew Zod is
I think so. Okay. Yes, because they mention it as like, oh, my uncle really hates like your Uncle Drew or something like that. Like that they're basically like enemies. And I was like, who's Drew?
Drew is essentially General Zod.
Yeah. But see, Zod and I aren't on like a first name basis, so I don't know him like that.
No, nobody recalls him that, but in the comics, that is how he is referred. Now, we may be taking a slight detour here, but I kind of want to talk about Rick's clothing. So can we get into boardroom or ballroom, and then like we'll just kind of hit all the boardroom or ballroom things, and then we'll come back to the issue. So I have a lot of questions for you about the clothing in this issue.
And this has been Lena.
That is the wrong one. We've got to do the intro. Where's the intro? Oh, here it is. Yes, here's the intro.
And now, Lena Luthor, boardroom or ballroom.
So the reason why I wanted to bring Rick's was because what does the purple and green look like to you?
You know, I don't want to steal this because Mind the Gap got there before me. It says he's kind of wearing Lex Luthor colors there, and even looks like he's wearing a Lexo suit in some of it.
And
I agree.
Like he has red hair.
He does. He does look like he has red hair. The purple and the green immediately, I was like, that's very Luthor coded, especially the purple. But also, I mean, the green kind of has a Lexo suit vibe to it. So yeah, I was like, what are we supposed to be taking from this? Like, what are there hints? Is this foreshadowing or is this nothing?
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I thought it was very strange that they had this guy who was supposed to be related to Zod, but he looked very much like Lex Luthor. So I'm glad I'm not the only one who thought that was something that had me curious about it. Also, in terms of the game that they were playing, which I don't think they give a name to the actual sport that was taking place here. This was just the youth. It was just called the Youth Continental Championship. So I don't know what kind of game they were playing, but it was a championship game.
It's got like what's the one that they play? Like it's got like a field hockey.
A little bit
to it. Yeah.
A little bit. So there's the team that is playing Rick's in the Lex Luthor Lexo suit is actually Kara's team. And I was curious what your thoughts were on their jerseys, because initially I thought it was supposed to be like a Supergirl or Superman S shield, but I don't know. I don't know what that is on their jerseys, because I was like, that can't be the House of L glyph, because they are all wearing it. So I was very confused about their jerseys.
That's a great point that I didn't think of too much. So it isn't I'm getting closer to it. It's not the House of L glyph, but it looks a lot like it and it just kind of looks like a swoop in the middle there. So I'd love to know, is that like Kryptonian for something,
Is
or
it maybe just like a symbol for Argo, you think? I don't know.
maybe, I wonder if does Argo have a symbol?
I would guess so. But I don't know. I always thought that was just for people, so or families or like houses.
Yeah, me
So
too. I thought that hold on. Now I'm looking at these are just different Superman logos. I was like, I thought I saw something on looking it up on Google, but it was just sort of a more like serpentine
oh yeah,
Superman
yeah, yeah.
logo. But yeah, no, I didn't think too much about it as I was flipping through this book, but now that I'm thinking about it, it is weird that they all have the glyph on their chests, and that seems to be like the uniform for the team. I'm wondering if that has something to do with like Argo City, or if the symbol means something. But maybe it means Argonauts. I don't know.
Maybe so. And I like that they're, wearing blue and red as Supergirl would. But Rix, who is this Zod family member, also has a different glyph on his chest. So I assumed that was representing something, but I wasn't. I assumed that maybe what Rix was wearing was the Zod crest, but I don't know. I just thought that was strange. It wasn't really communicated very well. I don't know. I felt like I was very confused. I guess because I overanalyze that stuff. So I feel like it maybe is something nobody really cares about but me.
The symbol on Rix's almost looks a little bit like a snake or like a dragon almost.
Yes. Very, very, very
Like
much
it's got like
so.
a serpent look to
Mhm.
it, I think, which is interesting, especially in combination with the Luthor color scheme. I'm like, am I supposed to read something into that?
I mean, I feel like you can. I don't see why not. So those are the questions that I had about the sports aspect of things. But then I also wanted to ask your opinion while we're in boardroom or ballroom about Supergirl's look. So we have an extended, we have an
Evolved.
it did evolve a little bit from the previous issue that we looked at. I mostly wanted to discuss because I'm kind of used now to like the kiss makeup. That's fine, whatever. But now I'm starting to really focus on her hair. Does she have like a bun? Is that what that is on the top of her hair?
I think she's got like I think it's a high pony, but it feels a little bit like she did like a old school bump it, like a
Yes.
kind of bump it to get some volume. Listen, I'm not judging. Who among us should judge your Snooki look? But it is a bit strange. I think it's stranger because I had a feeling this was going to come up, and so I did some research, which is that I went back to the previous issue and then
Ooh.
forward to the next issue. I got to tell you, the look keeps changing.
Uh-oh.
It seems upon who is drawing her,
Oh,
because
okay.
in the last issue, she had kind of like an undercut situation going on with her
Oh, that's
hair. Like
right.
she had like kind of a side shave. At least one side was shaved on in the previous issue. In the future issue, because I spoiled myself, she's got like both sides shaved. So this is the only time that we see her with like a full ponytail situation with sort of the bump it. And I just think like how did she have like an undercut in the last one, but also now full sides of the hair, and then once again they disappear in the next one. So I guess it's comic book continuity. You just gotta kind of go with it. But I was like, honestly, I kind of prefer this look with the bump it to some of the other looks. So I guess I shouldn't argue too much.
Yeah, that's good to know. We'll have to keep track of her infected look, I guess, is what you should call it. But I think this one I definitely prefer to the previous one, but I did think it was notable. I sort of was like, did she take time to like do that? Was she doing her hair? I don't know. I was very confused. But it could also just be if you wanted to justify the different change in her looks from issue to issue, this could just be infection look that like while she's infected, like she's having these memories of Krypton. Maybe this is how maybe she would wear her hair on Krypton. I don't know. So that could have been the case too. I don't know. But it's definitely a different hairstyle in this one. So I wanted to mention that. It looks like the same suit though for the most part, I think.
So I think the only change, the biggest change I noticed was she's got like little cape wings now in this suit, which I thought
Around her head.
yeah, like around her head, and I was like, huh, I don't remember those little wings on the last one, and I looked back, and it's because they weren't there. So either they have just sprouted. I can kind of give them a backstory, which is that like the cape was kind of tattered, like that's the look, and like as she flew around in the cape, like these things kind of like started to stand up on their own, and that it kind of evolved from like the tattered cape into her like her little cape wings. I don't know, maybe they'll be back in the next one, maybe they won't. Like her hair, but I like the look in this one, especially because as we all know, her very famous nickname, Angel of the Sky.
Angel of the Sky, courtesy of Deadline. They're gonna make it happen.
Exactly. And you know what? I'm embracing it. She's embracing it. She's the Angel of the Sky right now, baby.
So there is Supergirl's look, and then I wanted we'll talk a little bit about the Batman Who Laughs once we get out of boardroom or ballroom. But since we're here, let's talk about his look. So this is our first real good introduction to the Batman Who Laughs. So what do you think about him?
He looks wild. I don't know what's going on with him. I don't like that you can't see his eyes or his nose. He's just a big mouth with some spikes.
It's a little disturbing.
It's just I know he's supposed to be disturbing, but like you're giving too much. Like you're serving too hard. Is the problem here. I think that the look is really interesting. It almost looks like he almost has kind of like a samurai look to him, which is cool, but seemingly comes out of nowhere. He's got the little bat ears, so that kind of ties it into Batman. If you had asked me like what DC character is he supposed to be before I read anything, I would say I don't know. He doesn't really read super Batman, even with the little bat ears. I think you're just so freaked out by his like little spike collar around the middle of his face that I'm not looking at his ears. And then the rest of the outfit doesn't really scream Batman to me. It screams like I guess maybe a high fashion Batman goes to Japan and like really goes down a dark path. But yeah, no, I think the outfit itself is cool. I just don't like the head thing. It's freaking me out.
Yeah, the spikes going around the eyes is quite off-putting. He also has sort of the tattered cape, like this infected version of Supergirl does. So I guess that's part of maybe what happens when you get infected is that your cape gets all torn up, I guess. Yeah, this Batman Who Laughs is quite the character, and I agree. Like if you asked me who that was and I didn't really know, like the cowl, it does kind of give it away, but not totally. So I'm glad to see this character now, and he does look jokerish with that grin and the big smile and the big teeth. And he's laughing and he's telling Supergirl to basically be free and have fun and be herself. So I guess we'll find out more about this character as we go along. But I just wanted to talk about his suit because he was quite the interesting visually looking character. So anything else about boardroom or ballroom before we get out of here?
I did want to pull up this comment from Mind the Gap, who says the Batman Who Laughs looks very similar to Judge Death from the Judge Dredd comics.
Oh, I know Judge Dredd. I don't know Judge Death.
No, me neither. Let's see. Judge Death from Judge Dredd. Let's see.
Oh, yeah, he does have
Oh, yeah.
a big, like you can see his teeth. He's very
And then just
toothy.
like a lot of teeth, a lot.
Yeah.
So the thing with Judge Death here, as so from what I'm looking at, is that he's got kind of like a grate here where
Yeah.
the eyes are, and I feel like that's less off-putting to me because I can understand how he sees. Like I'm like, okay, he's seeing out of that thing. The problem with the Batman who laughs is I'm like, how is he just doing echolocation to get anything done like an actual bat? Is that
Maybe so. Maybe so. Actually, that would be really cool. Why doesn't Batman do that?
I don't
Does
know.
he do that?
That'd be a great power if he's in the dark and he just starts going like, "Ah," and the sound waves are hitting. Maybe it wouldn't be like scary for the villains or whatever if he's just screaming. But maybe it would be. What's more off-putting than like a grown man screaming to locate things in the dark?
If that has never been in a Batman comic, someone should
That
write
has
that
to.
in.
Somebody
It
has to have done
it
that
has
one,
to.
right?
I mean, Batman's been around since 1939. I feel like it's probably been covered at some point.
If we've hit upon this, someone else for sure has.
I don't know. I think we have a lot of good ideas, a lot of
agree.
original ideas.
Nasty Luther would be much bigger character
Oh,
if it was up to us.
Oh my gosh. By the way, I forgot to put a part in the news section about how Superman and Lois was going to introduce Lex Luthor's daughter. And I was like, okay, who is this going to be revealed to be? Because I think sometimes it has been Lena, but Lena has also been sometimes portrayed as his sister. Nasty is his niece. Typically.
Closer.
But I was like, if Superman and Lois gives me Nasty Luthor, wouldn't that be something? I don't think it's going to happen, but that's what they should have done. If they don't do Nasty Luthor on Superman and Lois, they are cowards. They should do it.
They should. Listen, this is your opportunity, your chance. Let's go.
So I forgot to put that in the news section, but that made me think about that. Sorry if I spoiled anybody. I don't really know anything about it. I have yet to start a Superman and Lois season 4, so I don't really have any spoilers to tell anybody. So anyway, I think that is going to cover a boardroom or ballroom, and I just wanted to get your thoughts on some of these outfits here in this issue. But actually, let's get back to talking about the story. And this has been
Lena Luthor, boardroom or ballroom.
Actually, I guess this is a spoiler for Superman and Lois. So if you don't want to be spoiled, skip forward like 30 seconds. But it looks like Mind the Gap says her name is Elizabeth in the show.
Elizabeth Nasty Luthor, or
what a disappointment! I really hyped myself up that this would be a Luthor that I knew.
Not even a fun name.
Oh, it's not even a good name. Maybe her nickname is Nasty or something.
My name is Elizabeth, but it's nasty if you're my friend.
Yeah, that's truly
I'm holding out hope.
That is a bummer. Okay, so what have we not talked about in this issue, Morgan, that you would like to discuss?
I guess like the way that the issue sort of flipped back and forth between the memories that she had of her last day and her current Black Sabbath future, I thought was interesting and kind of like freaky, where she would see these flashes of her family like as like half skeletons, and
Like
she would
almost
see
zombie looking.
like a very zombie-esque look to them, and she would see flashes of herself with her Kiss makeup and be like, oh God, what's going on there? Indeed, Cara, what is going on there?
Did you read this in like the digital what do they call it?
I
Call
did.
it the guided
Yeah,
view.
the guided view.
It was like a jump scare.
It
It actually freaked me out because it would go panel through panel. So in the comic, there's 3 panels next to each other. And the first panel has Kara just normally like brushing her hair in the mirror. And then the middle panel is like Kara with the Kiss makeup that just appears out of nowhere. And the third panel is like her reacting to it. And I actually had that same reaction as I was going through it, like panel through panel. I was like, oh my gosh. So they actually achieved a jump scare in that.
It made me laugh too because the last panel where she's like not reacting like that much to it. Like she's surprised, but I was more surprised than she was. She's like, oh. Whereas I was like, when the next panel popped up on my screen. Yeah, I feel like, if you're brushing your hair, what you don't want to do is like look up and see Gene Simmons in your mirror.
Looking back at you.
At that point, bad stuff has happened somewhere in the timeline and you are in trouble. Yeah, I thought that was kind of like a cool visual way to show, like, as you're in this very kind of conventional flashback story initially in the book, that okay, this is going to tie into the story that you're reading. We have a reason for flashing back, and like we're gonna get there, like kind of be patient, which I was fine with because I kind of like slice of life stories anyway. So I was like, no, let's not go back to the main story. Let's stay here. Just like Kara, I was like, let's stay here. I don't want to go back.
That's so funny. I would have also liked to have been just having an issue where it's like Kara on Krypton doing whatever she was doing on Krypton, because I really enjoyed seeing her with like baby Cal, like
Me
babysitting
too.
baby Cal, and even though it was kind of just like she was doing it, I think just to spend time with her boyfriend Rix. But I really enjoyed getting to see that insight into Kara's family life and getting to see what she did day in and day out and what she was interested in, and how she participated in sports and things like that. I really enjoyed that. So I would have stayed there as well.
Yeah. I feel like when we started to switch back to the regular timeline, much like Kara, I was bummed about it. I was just like, no. I feel like I was learning a lot about Kara, things I hadn't known before. She likes history. I don't want to go yet. Also, I think some of this is obviously influenced by the fact that thus far I'm like not in love with this virus storyline, and I suspect I will continue to not be. And so I was just like, I like this. She's babysitting Cal, and there's a boy she likes. Like, I don't want to go back.
And when they kiss for the first time, the entire world shakes.
The world
Literally.
ended after her first kiss. It's romantic, but also a real bummer.
I was kind of I guess I could see the teenage drama coming, because all throughout the issue she's like, oh, I get some time to myself. Like she really is excited to being able to have the time away from her parents and being able to spend time with Rick. So I saw it coming, but I was still kind of like, the teenage drama part of it I wasn't really interested in. But I think it plays into the fact that for Kara, even as a teenager, which I think she was kind of I don't know we don't know exactly how old she is here, but it sort of felt like she was a teenager.
Yeah, it feels like the teens, like 15, 16, somewhere 17, somewhere around there.
But this would have been something that would maybe have, like, I never really had put a thought to that with Kara before. Like, what was she doing when Krypton exploded? Obviously, we have a lot of stories where like she's put in a ship and her parents say goodbye to her. But what if she was like trying to go on a date or trying to babysit her baby cousin? There could have been those instances where she was doing something that just a normal teenager might do before all of that went down. So that was kind of an interesting take on that, even though I didn't care for like the teenage drama of it all. I think that's something that makes sense for her character at the time.
Yeah, I didn't care about her romance with
Rix? R-I-X? Rix?
I was gonna say, if they named this man Riz, like years before this became a like a Gen Z slang, that would have been impressive. No, I didn't really care about her relationship with Rix, but the idea of her like having her first kiss on the day her planet explodes is very sad. It's like we get to kind of see her be a normal teenager and do normal teenage things, like win a sports game and sneak her boyfriend in while she's babysitting. I liked seeing like very normal teenage Kara, and I thought that the idea of her conversation with her was it like her mentor, her like professor in the history, where he's like, I've got you into this really prestigious program, and she and her mom are really excited, and her dad's like, low-key, like, it doesn't matter, we're all about to die. I thought that was like really interesting. It's like, because she doesn't know what's like the undercurrents of what's going on, she's still living her life very normally and thinking about the future. And her dad knows the future's looking less and less likely. And I thought that that was really interesting, and the way that they kind of worked in the earthquakes getting more and more severe while they're all just kind of living their normal lives, and the way that they just ignore it. They're just like, another quake. It's like, oh no, that feels familiar. As we get like more and more like hurricanes and stuff around us.
Oh,
we're
yeah,
like,
yeah,
"It's
yeah.
another day."
Yeah.
It felt like, I was like, oh, cool, we're living through late stage Krypton. But yeah, I thought that the way that they did that, where it's like, we see Krypton explode so often, people like running around and throwing them into the pods. But before that happened, it was just a regular place where people were going about regular lives and playing high school sports and thinking about where they were going to go to college. And I really liked that aspect of this issue. And I felt like it made it very poignant when they needed to throw her in where she had to leave. And when she has that moment where she turns around and she's like, I don't want to leave, I don't want to go. I thought that was really affecting.
Oh, yeah, and I think that played into her conversation with the Batman Who Laughs, because he is essentially, I felt like he was tempting Supergirl. He's like, now you can finally let go of your guilt and you can be free to be you. This could be the new Kara. I'm infecting you, and you can be a new Kara who is free of sadness and guilt, and not a Kara defined by loss. And I thought that was particularly cutting for Supergirl, because in a lot of stories, in a lot of Supergirl stories, she is defined by her loss. She is defined by losing her family and her culture and everybody she knew, and everything that she knew just is destroyed, and she feels very alone in that she is the only one who really retains that culture. Cal will learn it eventually, but she's the only one who like had those experiences. And so a lot of Supergirl is defined by her loss, and I think it actually makes her a stronger character, so I don't mind it too much. But traditionally with Supergirl stories, she is a character who has a little bit of survivor's guilt. And so for the Batman Who Laughs to come in and say, oh, you can let go of all that, you don't need any of that. And he even kind of is playing up the Superman Supergirl rivalry a little bit, being like,
oh yeah,
everybody sees you as less because he's a man and you're just a girl. So he's really
that really made her mad too. She's
yeah,
like, oh.
yeah. So I think, I don't know. Do you think the Batman Who Laughs, do you think he really is thinking he's helping people?
That would actually be pretty interesting if that was sort of part of his motivation, was him being like, I'm freeing you from the shackles of like whatever your issue is. And like in her case, it would be like, I'm freeing you from like the shackles of like survivor's guilt. And I think that that's a really interesting story, and it like to go along with the idea of Superman, it is the thing that really separates the two of them, because I think even though you could say Superman has some survivor's guilt as well, he doesn't remember anybody. He doesn't have like concrete memories. And they point this out in this issue too, that Superman came as a baby, and so he doesn't remember Krypton. Only she remembers it as like a living planet where she was like, had classes that she went to, and like had a team that all chanted her name. Like, as much as Clark maybe misses Krypton or misses the idea of his parents or misses his parents, he never got to live there and experience like what the culture was like. So I think that's really always the biggest differentiator between those two characters. And I think, pulling out her survivor's guilt is something really interesting, as like, well, you can be free from this.
Yeah, I wonder if he doing it to torture them, or does he in his mind think he is actually helping these characters? I don't know if we'll get the answer to that, but that was something that I thought about, because it seemed like he was talking as if he was trying to help her, but he also is a very nefarious looking character, so he could have nefarious deeds and intentions that are going along with that as well. I guess since we were talking about some of the way things looked, any art pages that stood out to you in this issue?
I really love the jump scare
Yes.
where she sees herself with the crazy makeup. I also like the page on mine. This is page 99, but as a reminder, I have the collected edition. So if you got the individual issue, this is not going to mean anything to you. But basically, it's where she's like holding Clark, and then she does the up and away,
Yeah.
and like holds him up. I thought that was really cute. I also
Almost
like
as if she's flying with her cape.
almost as if he's flying, and she's flying. And then I also really like the next page where you see her go through a series of babysitting shenanigans with little Clark, where she's feeding him and changing his smelly diapers and like trying to put him to sleep. I thought that was cute. I also like how all the panels are sort of the same size, so it kind of feels like you're going through a montage. It
Yes.
gives you that gives you that feel to it. I liked that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that section of it too. Although this brings up a question that I had for you about Crypto. So in this panel where she's trying to shush Crypto, Crypto is like looking away from her with like 3 lines that are drawn. What do you think? Is Crypto shaking his head? What is he?
I
What
don't
do you think
know.
that's indicating?
Maybe he's like growling. Maybe he's
Oh, maybe.
yeah, like because he knows somebody's about to come over. He hears somebody in the hallway, and he's like, "Oh no."
Because Crypto does not like Rix. He did
Crypto
not
is
seem to
not a
care for
fan.
him. So maybe
Mm-mm.
he knows he's like from the Zod family, but Crypto was not interested in what was happening.
Crypto is also not a fan of the Zods.
So I just thought that was funny that Crypto was really, I think, sassing Supergirl a little bit. I really enjoyed in terms of the art in this issue is that a lot of times when the ground would shake, things went blurry.
Yes.
There would be panels that would look kind of hard to see and look at, and I really liked that. I thought it was a nice artistic touch to make me feel the motion in the panel. And so that was one of the things that I really took away from this one was the blurriness to kind of put me in that shaking of the ground and really make that effective. And there's 2 sets of panels that I thought did a really visually very interesting job. Was that there's 2 panels stacked on top, like one stacked on top of the other, of Kara's eyes with her kiss makeup eyes. And the top panel is looks normal, and the bottom panel is like that blurred, almost discolored. The light changes underneath it, and I really like that. I thought that one was probably my favorite set of panels in the issue, just because it was so interesting in terms of like the emotion that's there. The first one has, the kiss makeup and the kind of the normal look, but there's like a little bit of a teardrop in the bottom one. She's fully like crying with her eyes closed. And so I thought that was very, very good. So I thought there were some very creative choices that were made in this issue in terms of the art. So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I think that the sense of motion that they managed to get in this issue was really good. Like I actually felt like I could feel things moving, which I think is usually hard to convey in like a 2D medium. So I think that they did a really good job.
Yeah, use everything at your disposal. The last thing before we kind of just wrap up and go to overall thoughts. Did you remember that Kara's nickname in this run of Supergirl was Kara Nizu?
No, I did not. And I was like, huh?
Yeah, so they mentioned that several times. She's called that several times in this issue, and I had to look it up in my trusty Google Docs, and that first appears in Supergirl number 3. So that is something just
Ah.
from this run of Supergirl comics, is that Kara Nizu is her like Kryptonian nickname that her family calls her. So I had forgotten about that, so I had to look it up. So if anybody was wondering where that comes from, that is what it is. It's been a while. That is Supergirl number 3, way back in the beginning of Rebirth. So that is what that is from. Well, Morgan, what are your overall thoughts on this issue? I guess I don't want to rate it out of 10. I hate rating that kind of stuff, but likes, dislikes.
Yeah, no, I actually really liked this one. I liked that we were sort of pausing on the villain arc. And I thought they did a really good job of like painting the idea of like what her last day would have been. Which is again, yeah, something I hadn't really thought too much of is like up until when she got shoved into that pod. What was she doing? Like what was life looking like? And I think they did a really good job of painting a portrait even in one day or one afternoon of what her life looked like overall, like what she was doing, the sports she was playing, the what she liked to study, her friends and her boyfriend, and her boyfriend from the wrong family, drama. You got the idea of her just being like a normal teenager, and I really liked that. And I really liked it the way that it kind of went into some of her, how hard it has been for her to move on from Krypton because of these memories that she has. So I thought that the issue was really well done. I liked it a lot.
I think to your point, the only thing that I'll say as we wrap up on this discussion is that I like that it was focused on Supergirl. I mean, this was a Supergirl issue that was primarily about Supergirl. Some of these other issues, like there's the Omega Men show up randomly, and
Yes.
let's see, the I forget what the Secret Six or the whatever they were
Oh,
called was like.
that's right.
Yeah, they show up. And so it's like sometimes it's not always about Supergirl. This one felt like it was about Supergirl. So I think that's what I mean, that's the way it should always be in Supergirl titles.
You'd hope, but
you would
you're
think
wrong.
so. But I think to your point, I think that was a great point that it was Supergirl centric, and it made me really interested in Kara's Kryptonian life, and brought some new things to the table in terms of her mythology, and tweaked it a little bit to meet the storytelling narrative that they were going with, which I think is a really cool new take on, well, new-ish. I mean, this was a little while ago. It's new to us.
New to us for sure.
So I enjoyed some of those new twists and wrinkles in the character of Supergirl. Well, I think that's going to wrap up our thoughts on Supergirl Annual number 2. If you haven't bought it yet, this annual is available in the DC Comics app, Comixology, Google Play, and readdcentertainment.com. You can probably also, I think, like Morgan, get the trade if you want to do that. So you can get a physical copy as well. But that is going to cover it in terms of how to get that. And this is going to wrap up this episode of Supergirl Radio. If you'd like to contact us, you can post a comment on our website at supergirlradio.com. You can email us at supergirlradio@gmail.com. You can like us on Facebook and follow us on X and Instagram, all at Supergirl Radio. If you like what we do, we encourage you to give us a rating and write us a review on Apple Podcasts or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Supergirl Radio is part of the DC TV Podcast and Multiverse of Color Network, so definitely go check those out. You can hang out with us as we go live and wired on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern on the DC TV Podcast YouTube channel, the Supergirl Radio Facebook page. If you ever have questions about when we're going to go live, because sometimes we're like, things are crazy and our schedules are weird, and sometimes we can't live stream. If you have questions about when we're going to be streaming, go to specifically, you can go to both the DC TV Podcast YouTube channel and the Supergirl Radio Facebook page, and that will tell you when we will be live next. DC TV Podcast also has a TeePublic store, so if you're in need of some new DC or DC TV or DC Comics related t-shirts, tank tops, sweatshirts, magnets, tote bags, pins, phone cases, pillows, or stickers, go to supergirlradio.com and click on the TeePublic store link at the top of the page.
And since Supergirl Annual number 2 spent time on Krypton and Argo, we have some Krypton designs in the DC TV Podcast TeePublic store that we'd love to suggest.
Yeah, if you need some Krypton merch, whatever, if you're still in the South, so it's kind of if you're in the Southern United States, it's still a little hot where I am, so you could get away with a t-shirt. But if it's getting a little colder where you are, we also have sweatshirts and hoodies. So if you need some new merch for the fall in this time of year, we've got you covered for any Kryptonian merch that you might need or / want. And also, we'd like to thank our legion of super sponsors for supporting the Supergirl Radio Patreon. These people are Michael and Marie, Yvonne, Nicola, Abby, Miriam, and Nicole, Brian, Ethan, Danny, Majuba, Zachary, Annie, and Rachel. And if you would like to become a legion of super sponsor, you can visit patreon.com/Supergirl Radio. And if you would like to follow me on the interwebs, you can do that in several places. You can follow me on Instagram at the Derby Kid. I'm also on the social media platform Vero at Derby Kid. Let's see. I also have a personal YouTube channel that you can find at youtube.com/duckmilkprod. I also have a travel blog that I do with my brother called Oasis Room. So you can find us on social media and YouTube. And I think that covers a lot of the things. I recently took some pictures of dogs, which is fun for a volunteer effort that I was doing for the United Way. So that was really fun. I got to have an animal experience. It's very rare for me because I'm highly allergic to cats. No offense. I hope Bunsen and Beaker do not take offense.
Bunsen has left, so you can say it.
I'm highly allergic to cats, but dogs are okay. I can be around dogs. So that was really fun. So if you're interested in dog pictures, I have some of those.
And I realized that I had started something for later, but I'm going to pull it up. Rachel mentions in the chat. Also, did you see that Nicole Main's new book came out today?
Is this the Dreamer book?
No, this is just like a book from Nicole Main's. I think it is like a memoir or something, maybe like a collection of essays. I don't know, but I will soon because I had actually pre-ordered it because I love Nicole Main's, and it came in today. And normally I'd be like, and here it is, but I actually have it in the other room, so I can't do that. But if you are a big fan of Nicole Main's, our Dreamer, you can go on any book, anywhere books are sold, and get her new book because it just came out.
Did the Dreamer trade or graphic novel, did that ever come out? Did we miss it?
It came out I feel like a couple months ago, and I don't remember what we were doing at the time. But I have it and I've read it and I liked it.
Okay, good. Okay.
But I don't think that I think it came out like a couple months ago and it got lost in our shuffle.
Oh, maybe it was because we were covering My Adventures with Superman. Maybe
I think it was during the prime My Adventures with Superman time, and then right after that we were just trying to figure out the Tomorrowverse. So I think I forgot about it after My Adventures with Superman.
we got stuck into a lot. Yes,
just exploded my brain. But yes, if you are specifically a fan of Dreamer, her the graphic novel that Nicole Main's wrote, which I feel like it's called like Bad Dream or something, but I could be wrong.
Of course it is.
It's definitely a dream pun. That is
yes.
Also out.
It's on brand. Maybe we'll try to cover the Dreamer graphic novel at some point when we get finished with some things and have a way to work it in. But that's good to know because sometimes I lose track of these things.
Me too. And I wanted to bring up Marcy Dalmatian, which is a great name for what we're about to talk about, says that, by the way, Crypto is usually portrayed as a mixed breed, usually resembling a Labrador, hound, or bully breed, such as a
Doggo Argentino
or American Bulldog. Is that the real name of the dog? It's called a Doggo Argentino because that's amazing. I love that.
And they are they're real sweet dogs. I've seen them. They're real sweet dogs, but man, if you mess with them, if you mess with their human, they will go after you. So they are very protective dogs, and they're pretty big too. They're like muscly. But they're real sweet dogs too. So
I don't think I'd ever known what those kind of dogs were called. Like I looked up pictures, and yes, I've seen these guys. They are big boys, and very cute. But I didn't know that their name was Doggo Argentino. Honestly, like a god tier dog name, which hard to beat.
He's a doggo.
He's just a doggo. He's just a little doggo.
It is great. So thank you for the information on the crypto breeds. So I like trying out different dog breeds. I think it's fine. I think it's great. I have always championed crypto to be a Pekingese. Nobody's never taken it up though. But
that would be really funny. Just a small yappy dog, and that's Crypto.
because like
Smushed in face.
the thing about Pekingese, like as puppies, they don't have like the long hair, but for like the dog shows, they have that crazy. It makes them look
Oh,
like a mop.
yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Uh-huh.
They're like the funniest looking little dogs, and I love them so much. But I've always wondered what would Crypto look like if he was a Pekingese.
I also think Pekingese are really great because I'm not shading Pekingese. They are great dogs.
They're
But
so
I've heard that some Pekingese are very mean, which I think would be a very funny take on Crypto. It's just this like kind of mean little yappy dog, and everybody's like, just ignore him. Ignore him. He's always like this.
I will say Pekingese puppies are adorable looking.
Oh my God.
They're
I
so
can
cute.
imagine. Because they're pretty small dogs, right? They're like 10-pound, 15-pound dogs.
Yeah,
Like
they're
max.
they are definitely small. But so this is what
Oh my God, the
so
puppies. That's insane.
the
They're so
puppies are
cute.
really cute, but I want Crypto to look like the Pekingese with the really
Yes.
long hair. That's what I wanted. If I was in charge of a story that had Crypto in it, I'd be like, draw him as a Pekingese with the long hair, like he's in the dog show.
Crypto is a Pekingese. You just imagine this like little mop coming at you. That's Crypto. He's ferocious. Watch out. Here he comes.
Imagine him flying in the air like his hair going everywhere.
He's just like a little ball of fur coming at you. It's like Cousin It.
I just think while we're experimenting with breeds for Crypto,
I mean, why not?
why
Yeah.
not? I mean, I feel like it could work.
The sky's the limit. Let's get a Pekingese in there.
So that's always my preferred dog breed for Crypto, but no one ever does it. I don't
One of
know
these
why. I
days,
don't
listen,
understand
we're
it.
putting it out into the atmosphere. I feel like we're very influential. Like we're gonna get this done.
I'm sure if there was an artist, like a Superman artist, who was doing commissions, maybe I could get finally Crypto.
Pekingese Crypto.
Yes, that's what I would want.
Maybe at like a convention, you can go up and be like, I want something very specific.
I want a one of a kind.
One of a kind Pekingese Crypto.
That is my goal. So maybe one day we'll get to see that. But do you want to tell the folks about where to find you?
Sure, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mojotastic. You can also find me as a co-host on the Legendary Ladies podcast, where we just talked about the M. Night Shyamalan movie Trap, where he is trapped in essentially like a pop star's concert with his daughter. But the twist is he's a serial killer and the police are after him.
What?
Truly one of the wilder movies I've seen in a long time. Just a crazy movie. Reality has never touched this film. So if you have seen Trap and you want to know what our thoughts are on it, you should check out the podcast. You can find that at The Legendary Ladies on YouTube, and also on Instagram, and at legends_podcast on Twitter.
That sounds amazing. I loved like early M. Night Shyamalan, like Sixth Sense. What was the one with Bruce Willis? Why am I blanking on it?
Oh, wasn't
Um,
that six? Oh, the one where he falls or
he's
something.
this- he's this-
Fragile,
he's a superhero.
Unbreakable, or something?
Unbreakable.
Yes.
Yes, I loved those movies, and that fell off a little bit with M. Night
Yeah.
Shyamalan, like after like The Village or whatever it was.
The
like-
Village was one where I told the story on the Trap podcast, but I went to go see that ages ago with Sarah, and in the first 5 minutes, she turns to me, she says, "I bet it's," and completely calls the twist in the movie 5 minutes in, and then when it happened, I turned to her and I was, "Come on." So anyway, what I'm saying is like the twist is not like so unexpected.
So I know a lot of people point to The Sixth Sense as being like maybe his best work, but I love Signs.
Signs is great.
Signs, I think, is M. Night Shyamalan's like masterpiece. I think
I
that's
really like Signs. I feel like people sleep on Signs.
Yes,
It's
people do sleep on Signs.
underappreciated, but it is. Listen, do you like aliens? Yes, you got to watch Signs. You got to watch Signs.
The funny thing about that is I am definitely in real life. I am like that little girl in Signs, because I'm always like, getting a glass of water and then like leaving it somewhere and forgetting that I already had a glass of water, so I'll get another glass of water
Oh,
and
yeah,
then I'll
yeah.
forget that I had that one somewhere.
Water
and
graveyard, for
so then
sure.
I have like 5 glasses of water. I'm like, how did I end up with all this water? So I'm prepared for the aliens, though. I'm like,
You're ready. You're ready. No one's getting you.
So I don't want to spoil the ending of that movie, but water is very important.
But listen, every time somebody yells at you, why don't you ever like drink your water or put it away? Listen, be like, I'm preparing. The aliens are never gonna get me.
I am preparing for the alien invasion that may come. So you can thank me later when that time comes. So yeah, so I really love Signs. So I'll have to check out new M. Night Shyamalan. I haven't caught up with him in a long time.
Trap is fun. I will say Trap is fun. You can't go into that movie like trying to put reality on top of it. You just have to let reality go. You have to do it pretty quickly into the movie. And then you're gonna have a good time.
Okay, that sounds like a good recommendation. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Supergirl Radio. But until next time, I'm still Rebecca Johnson.
And I'm still Morgan Glennon. And thanks for joining us as we catch up on Supergirl comics.
McGurk! I love
Not mess
typing.
with my Google Docs, Meeksy.
Supergirl Radio is going live every night of the week. How do you like it? Is becoming a human burrito a plus or a minus? I don't know. It does seem snug.
I mean, they say you are what you eat.
Kira. I love that.
So I do a podcast called Supergirl Radio, and one of our segments is Lena Luthor, Boardroom or Ballroom, because
She looks like a boss in this coat.
Nasty Luthor like a different Luthor? It's not just Lena being mean?
No.
Helen Slater here. It's so fun to know that you're hosting a podcast called Supergirl Radio.
Yeah.